Hello, my name is Camilla, and I am a licensed professional counselor, or LPC, and a certified spiritual coach. And I wanted to make a series about just things that I wish I had known before taking my journey of being a counselor. To preface, I love what I do. I love being able to have the privilege to sit with people and guide them to a place of healing, to help them utilize, skills, and to help them just realize their own power and potential. I say that they do the work. I just kind of maybe help just walk alongside them to point these things out. And I once again, I love what I do. I don't see myself changing that. However, it was a hard journey, still can be. And I wanted to share my perspective, what the hard things were. A lot of therapists have made similar videos to this. I just wanted to give my perspective. So starting with number one, and that started back in grad school. And that is that the whole process of becoming a therapist is not necessarily geared with a certain population in mind. And I'll further explain what I mean by that. So in graduate school, so to become a counselor, you have to go to grad school and get your master's in some type of counseling. So there is clinical mental health counseling, which is usually the LPC route. That's what I did. There is social work. And then there is like marriage and family counseling, right? So LPC, LMSW or LCMSW. I'm not sure the acronym on that exactly, and LMFT. So in the program, and if you go to a KCREP program, so CACREP, so a KCREP, if I can say it right, a KCREP program is a counseling program that has specific requirements. And so if you're planning on becoming a counselor, typically you want to make sure you go to a KCAP program, especially if you go to a graduate program in a different state, or let's just, for example, like a line program in a different state, but you are planning on practicing in a, like where you're at, or like this, where you go to school and when you want to practice are different, right? Because they may not necessarily transfer over if you don't go to a KCAP accredited program. So with that, the requirements are doing a practicum and internship. Practicum is usually about 100 hours or so. Part of that is going to be direct hours. So those are the hours that you are expected to actually do clinical work and like do therapy work with clients. The other part is indirect, which is all the other stuff. So the note taking, the case management, consultation, things of that nature, right? And then, practicum is geared more towards doing indirect work first because you're stepping your toes into the water. Like this is usually your first experience with counseling. Internship is more heavy. So that's 600 hours, and that's more geared towards the direct hours, right? So you're doing more clinical work, more therapy work on top of the indirect work, right? And usually you have about 2 to 3 semesters to complete this. I did it in the 3. So it was like spring, summer, and then, it was spring, summer, and fall, I believe is what I kind of broke it up. But so when I said earlier that it's not geared towards a certain population, so when I did grad school, I was in my kind of later 20s and I worked a full-time job. I had to. I financially supported myself. I didn't have anyone to like lean back on for support financially, right? I rented out a room in a place. I had my bills, so I had to work full time to sustain my quality of life, right? To live. And when I started to get into field work and doing practicum and internship, that was that was a whole stressful thing. A lot of places of employment would try and be like, hey, can you come in like at 10 a.m.? And I'm like, I can't. I work a full-time job. And that was kind of the process that I went through. I did eventually find places that were able to work around my schedule. My practicum, I did it at like a residential facility. And so I was able to go in after work and on weekends. My internship, I did it at a private practice. So that was also pretty flexible, but it was very difficult. I would tell people my schedule and they would try and go around it. And I was like, no, I can't do that. So I had to turn down opportunities. Some places just didn't understand that, I had to work, and it was kind of frustrating. And then with that, you're going to be working a lot. So on top of my full-time job, which was 40 hours a week, I did my field work. And so at times I was working upwards to like 50 to 60 hours a week, because I would do my field work after work. And then I think I did Saturday. So I gave myself Sunday off. If you are currently a counseling student and you're in this process, please make sure you take time off. Like, it's so important. But it was difficult. It was really difficult. I was frustrated by the lack of kind of understanding with that. Some people, I've heard like, oh, just take out loans and quit your job. And I'm like, no, like, don't want to get into more debt because, I was already paid for grad school with student loans. And so it just seemed to be a lot of misunderstanding. So if you don't have financial support like I did, it's hard, and I want to validate that. I did it and it was possible, but it was hard. So I hope in the future there is more understanding towards that. I don't know how that necessarily could be done. Field work is there for a reason, right? And that's obviously because you have to, you can't just be like thrown into the field without any sort of practice. But I think that's something I wish I would have known before starting this journey, was that, it's going to be easier if you have support. If you have parents to lean back on, or a spouse. Not that it's impossible, but you're going to really have to prioritize self-care and leaning on people around you for support. Otherwise, you're going to burn out pretty quickly. So that's video 1 of my series of things I wish I knew before I became a counselor. So please like this video if you're interested, and follow me for more, because once again, this is going to be a regular series. So thank you for watching.